Paul Dunstan Wnek. I was a bosun mate, third class diver, special operations. So I come from a military family. My biological father was in the Army from the beginning of World War II to the end of World War II. He ended up serving 32 years in the Army infantry. Went from buck private all the way up to two-star general when he retired. My stepfather was in the United States Navy during World War II in 13 conflicts in the Pacific. I'm what's known as a war brat. I grew up with a lot of kids where our parents were in the military, and we used to play outside. We used to play war games. You know, so I appreciated what my family did. All my uncles served in the military, so it was destined that I was going to be in the service one way or another. When I was in high school, I grew up in an inner city, and I didn't know much about life outside the city. So what happened is we would go down the shore during the summertime, and I learned about boats, I learned about swimming, and I was a fairly good swimmer. So then what happened was, in high school, I had joined a club known as the Scuba Divers Club. Even though it was 2 years in the scuba diving club, we never saw water. We had our instructor who was a diver. He taught us all about the diving gear. I had pretty good grades in college. I got accepted to college. I got accepted to college, but found out that my parents could not afford to send us to college. So I opted to join the Navy Reserve while I was a senior in high school. In boot camp at Great Lakes, first of all, I had to guard a garbage can for 4 hours during the night. I had to guard a clothesline at night to make sure people didn't steal stuff. You know, sweep the barracks, clean the barracks. A lot of marching. One thing I found out, I had a Navy chief who used to come up and call us by different names, and he had such a southern accent, and he came up and told me I had an accent. I said, "Excuse me, sir, I think you have the accent." He said, "Boy, you just one of those Yankee hoodlums, aren't you?" That was my first experience with different languages. But we did a lot of marching, swimming, drilling, continuous weapons training. We worked with M1 rifles, pistols. Yeah, and that was very interesting. I didn't have any hard time. The only problem I had was to go on my first liberty. We had to learn 11 general orders and recite them perfectly. Yeah, and it took me like 2 weeks before I was able to go ashore once we were able to. The swimming test was good. We just had jumping off high platforms, simulating jumping off a ship. I was surprised how many men joined the Navy, didn't know how to swim. I met some guys from farm country out Midwest who joined the Navy just to see the ocean. Yeah, and if you didn't know how to swim, they had swimmers take you aside, and within a week you were knowing how to swim. Otherwise, I guess you would have been sent to the Army. I joined the Navy because all my relatives were in the Army and Marine Corps, and I was in scouting as a young child, and every time we went camping, it rained, I ate cold, wet food, so there was no way I was going into the Army or the Marines. I joined the Navy. I slept in warm cots at night when I was on board a ship or on a base, and had good food. How to take orders and follow orders. And keep your mouth shut. Don't question. My job was to do and respect the orders, and once we learned all of that, it was rough for some of us, you know, because we were used to, you know, answering back. Coming from the city, you know, we didn't take any nonsense. But, you know, you paid the price if you were a wise guy. And you learned not to be a wise guy, and you learned to respect the insignias that your trainers were wearing on their sleeves and the bars that were on the officers' collars. And you learned what it was all about. It was respect. And you had to earn it. It wasn't given to you.